Hello, freaks, and welcome to Radical Research. This is episode 132. I'm Jeff Wagner, and here with me as ever is Hunter Ginn, Session Hate Hammers.
Better now.
You and Jay Reed, buddy.
Yeah, I like it. I think Jay Reed would probably consider me a poser, but
I think Jay Reed considers the world a poser.
the
It's
whole the
just
whole world.
the
Yeah,
whole world.
look at you, broccoli, poser, poser ass vegetable.
You just don't fuck with Jay Reed.
Nope.
And there's the first F word we're going to have in this show, but it certainly won't be the last. This will be marked explicit. This is not for children, as we cover the very first Typo Negative album, or as it was first known, the first Repulsion, the only Repulsion cassette by this New York Repulsion called None More Negative. But we'll get to all that. Before we get into some of the housekeeping stuff, we're recording on July 22nd, and this is the day that Ozzy Osbourne left us, passed away in the morning in England. Ozzy Osbourne, no longer alive on this earth. That's a first for all of us, and just massive. I mean, it's hard to know what to say because any of the original Four Sabbath passing is and will be just a huge dent in our life, right? I mean, these guys, it's again, it seems so redundant to say, but they've meant so much to us personally, so much to this genre that we follow, or genres, because they really had a Black Sabbath had an influence spanning far beyond metal. And of course, we love, you and I love those first handful of Ozzy albums, the 80s stuff. And man, it's just it's weird, and it's such interesting timing too, right? It was about 3 weeks ago that they had that final show, the final Sabbath show, and he bows out. It was nice that he stuck around and was able to do that. And yeah, our condolences to his friends and family, of course, and his bandmates, and all the fans, the millions of fans.
You know, John Rosenthal called me earlier
Yes.
to talk about it, and he was
Mm,
like, man, you and I wouldn't even be talking if it weren't for Ozzy."
right.
And I started
Right.
thinking about that. I was like, fucking hell, like how many friends do I have like that I wouldn't have were it not for Ozzy?
Yeah,
It's
sure.
a
Because yeah.
found like thing and that I never really thought about. It's like, dude, like this guy invented something.
Right. Or well, I mean, co-invented because to me,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's one of those band lineups that's it's so
Oh yeah,
crucial to have those guys, like the classic Rush lineup.
of
It
course.
has
Yeah.
to be those guys. And Ozzy was a massive part of it. I think a lot of people, at least over the years, kind of thought he was maybe more of a creative element in Black Sabbath in terms of lyrics, even though that's not really the case. He lent something so invaluable to that band. I mean, you cannot imagine those early records or even the mid 70s records, Sabotage, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, without anybody else. And I think often he doesn't even get thought of as a great vocalist, but I will contend that on something like Sabbath Bloody Sabbath and Sabotage, and even those like Diary of a Madman solo album, great vocals, absolutely stunning vocal presence.
I'd go with the ultimate sin.
Sure,
Um,
man.
I
Yeah.
mean, like the guy, no, and yeah, like technically he's not a Graham Bonnet or a Dio. What that doesn't matter. Like he's still a completely great vocalist.
And of course, his personality was always so endearing, and
Yeah,
he was just this like lovable, cantankerous, like unpredictable personality. And man, I just this is a huge one. This is a big one. And Ronnie Sanders said it on our Facebook page when I announced it. He said this one hurts, and this one was bound to hurt.
yeah, dude, this
Uh,
it does hurt.
yeah. So thank you, Ozzy, for everything, just absolutely everything. I've always loved him. I love him even more now. And yeah, what more can we say? We are so grateful for his presence on this earth.
Yeah,
Um, you can always make a small monthly donation through our Patreon page. You set it and forget it. You choose your monthly tier, $5, $10, $20. You can even go higher. We won't stop you. You can go to patreon.com/radical research podcast to do that. The latest folks who have done that are Joshua Houston or Houston, Bucketbot, which I believe is a
Oh,
name we've
that's
heard
my
of.
boy. Yeah,
Sebastian.
Sebastian. Oh
Okay.
yeah, man, we
And
love Sebastian.
somebody just going by Der Warter, DER, and then WARTER. There may be an umlaut in there somewhere. Thank you, gentlemen. Also, really need to thank Philip Posen, who gave us a surprise donation through our PayPal ID, which is radicalresearchpodcast@gmail.com. That is our PayPal ID. You can go the way Philip did and just directly give there if you like. You can also contact us through that email address and we will respond in time. So thank you, Philip. He also sent us a very thoughtful email, which I have not replied to as yet, but we appreciate all of his thoughts. And we're just kind of amazed at how many people keep popping up, finding our show, or maybe they're longtime listeners and first time donators. But in any case, we appreciate.
Thank you all. We are very, very grateful.
As Ozzy would have said, we love you all. Yeah, he would have screamed it while doing his frog jumps on stage, but we're not going to do that. And even if we did, you wouldn't see it.
Actually, my back's hurting me tonight. So, oh God, I'm down to
And right now, we've been working on slowly getting older episodes up on our YouTube channel. Yeah, that's right. Radical Research has had a YouTube channel since 2019, but I haven't really done much with it. We have decided to go ahead and start filling in the gaps and getting some older episodes up there. These are the usual audio episodes you know and love, accompanied by various images for those that are into that sort of thing. And more about that YouTube channel to come. It's definitely going to be bulked up in the coming months. And please do subscribe to us there. Subscribing is free. It's just another way for you to access our episodes. And it does a lot of good for us if there are more and more subscribers. It just pops into more and more feeds. All right, without further ado, let's do an autopsy on this incredible first Typo Negative album. We're going to dive into a little bit from the massive opener here, Unsuccessfully Coping with the Natural Beauty of Infidelity.
Do you believe in forever? I don't even believe in tomorrow. The only thing that lasts forever are memories and sorrow. Check this out. Out of sight, out of mind. The motto, no betrayal. The prophets preach to forgive and forget. I'm sorry, but I am unable.
a fascinating piece of music.
Well, I
I
mean,
mean, there really is nothing like it. And you and I were talking about this, before we recorded. But you hear bits of what would become typo negative, writ large on
Sure.
Bloody Kisses, but yeah, there's really nothing quite like this album.
And I still look at it with great affection in terms of it still has a mystique to me because of that. Like there still hasn't to this day been anything like it. The only thing like it is later Type O, which you can every now and then pick out. Oh, that kind of goes back to Slow, Deep, and Hard. I think of the Prophet of Doom from their final album, Dead Again, where you're like, oh, we're kind of getting back to that. It's brief, but it works, and it's Peter Steele's birthright to and his right to his music and his creativity to go back. But it really was never his style. I think Typo just kept casting out from where they started. But this thing, yeah, this thing is a interesting debut in the sense of they really leave it behind once they start moving on. And as you said, kind of becoming Typo writ large, the Typo that the world thinks of as Typo.
Mm.
I have to say immediately that when this came out, I was already an absolute Carnivore fan. When I first picked up the first album, Carnivore, on a blind purchase back in the 85 days when I was 15, 16, you'd often make a blind purchase if it was on Roadrunner, which that was, or if it was on Metal Blade or whatever. You'd often make that blind purchase like, yeah, I've been reading about these guys, or maybe you even hadn't heard of them. You'd pick something up. Carnivore was a name I'd heard. I knew they were from New York. I picked it up, took it home, slapped it on the turntable, and just I've been in love ever since. Like it's just I was so taken by the unbelievably overdone voice. Like that vocal on that album is just so off the chain. You know what I mean? It's such a rager.
Unhinged.
Absolutely unhinged. And so domineering. That was the other thing about it. Like, Jesus, this
That's
guy.
it.
You know. So and I'll tell you, when I got this album in the mail after being into Carnivore and the second album, Retaliation, I was excited because I knew that this was this new band of his. Didn't really know what to expect. And so it arrives in the mail. I ordered it from Slip Disc Records in Valley Stream, New York, which is a place that we ordered from often, a specialty store. It was mythical to us as kids. And I finally, when I moved to New York for the Maniacs gig, I finally went a few times, which was just like a mecca in a way. So I got it from Slip Disc Records. I got it the same day that I also ordered Paradise Lost Gothic. Those two came in the same package. I ordered both of those from Slip Disc, and what a massive bomb in my life to have the Gothic and the Slow, Deep, and Hard come on the same day. They came out around the same time. I think there's a few months between them, but back in the day, that was a short period of time to wait. In the mail especially. But anyway, I put it on and I thought, wow, this is like eclectic Carnivore. To me, this as much has one foot in Carnivore's world as this does in the future Typo Negative world. I absolutely think it's the bridge. It's the it's the bridge. It's the transition album.
That's the thing of it. It's exactly that. It is the bridge, and that's what makes it so special. And it's not, it's kind of uneasy because of that. I think for the listener, that's not an aspersion on the confidence of the record because it's very confident in what it does. But I think if you had been a Carnivore fan and then a Typo fan, this record resides in a very uneasy place between those two poles.
What's interesting was we didn't know where that next pole was going to be placed at. And when Bloody Kisses came out, the shock of the change, like I loved it right away, but I thought, oh man, this is not going to go well for them. Just because I just felt it was like this crassly commercial, comparatively commercial. The first version of Bloody Kisses is the best. We're not going to fight about that now. You're a fan of the second version with Suspended in Dusk, right?
Well, you said we weren't going to fight, Jeff, so let's just move on.
Okay, well, you're wrong about that. And Marty, just take note. We're disagreeing on this. But anyway, when that album came out, it was so starkly different than the first one. Even though I could tell it was the same band, it was like, wow, this is such a direction. Of course, I got proved completely wrong when it went, platinum. But if you had told me that the band that I was just listening to for the first week that I had this record, Slow, Deep, and Hard, that this was their second album would be a platinum record, like I never, ever, ever would have believed that shit. Like it just would have seemed impossible.
Yeah, totally.
Because this is one crass hateful motherfucker of a record. It also slams up things stylistically that seem either divergent or
Yeah,
contradictory.
it doesn't make sense, really.
But then it does. It's like this is masterful stuff. I think the way this is all put together is just, I mean, this is a masterpiece to me. It was kind of cool to get this eclectic version of Carnivore. Couldn't believe how slow some of it was. Like Carnivore always had slow moments, but it took it to the nth degree, and just I don't know. But why don't we just keep listening? Because that's where the proof is. It's right in that pudding, right in that sweet, sweet pudding,
Yeah, keep eating that pudding.
blood pudding.
Hey, don't think I don't know what you're doing, you stupid twat. You went to the mall Saturday night, red nails and lipstick, dressed two sizes too tight. His toe down your throat, his hands up your skirt. Yeah, I'm a man, but it still hurts. Slut. I know you're fucking someone here. I know you're fucking someone here. You had gun on your mind and come on your breath. Inserted that diaphragm.
Classic lyrics there. Session hate hammers.
Yeah, yeah. That's probably the raciest shit we'll ever get into.
Racy. Yeah, I guess it is. You're bringing that word back. Yeah, yeah. Look,
I'm an old man, but it's
the
like the guy's genuinely he's upset.
that's for sure. No, this was, as you can read about in Soul on Fire, the life and music of Peter Steele, written by me, available at radicalresearch.org. We're not doing this episode to sell books, but I still have books to sell. So if you want a copy of Soul on Fire, you can get it there. So as I wrote that book and I kind of delved into some of the personal past, I found out sort of more why this album is what it is. And of course, it was always pretty obviously a revenge album on a woman who was cheating, and him having trouble with and eventually coming to hate and loathe. And yet, it's still so fun in a weird way because the I know you're fucking like that's out of like West Side Story or some shit, or I don't know, that comes from 50s rock or early 60s bubblegum or something, that da, 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 like, it just has this cadence or so. I'm describing it terribly. Maybe you can sophisticate what I'm trying to say.
No, I understand what you're saying. It is. It's sort of sing-songy, but
Yeah, right. And we're already into this, what is it? 12-minute hateful song.
Pete loved 60s pop music. He
Absolutely.
grew up on it.
Yeah. No,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah. And I think this is him not being afraid to show all the influences, and he's not the only one in the band. Obviously, we should name them. Josh Silver, huge part of the band. He and Peter had a love of the Doors. Now, you and I don't like the Doors, but I can hear that in the keyboard work of Josh Silver all the time. And I'm willing to accept that because it's in this context that we love so much. And then, of course, there's Kenny Hickey on guitar. I think he's very notable throughout the band's history, but especially this one in terms of his place in the sound picture. And then Sal, the original drummer.
so Scott
Is
Toll.
it Abscado, a coffee and sausage peach OV. But yeah, I really like his work on the first two typo albums.
I
So
love this drummer.
yeah,
Yeah.
great unit, great chemistry. But yeah, so they had all these influences, and I think Peter was just like throwing caution to the wind. Like, this is a new band, I might as well just do what I want rather than be restricted to like, oh, I'm thrash metal, or oh, I'm kind of a crossover which kind of they got into with Retaliation, and they always showed a Black Sabbath influence, and it's kind of amazing that we're recording this the day that Ozzy died. We need to note, before we move on with Unsuccessfully Coping with the Natural Beauty of Infidelity, that the album began life as this one and only demo by a band called Repulsion, which these four guys first called the band. In '89, Peter wasn't aware of Michigan's Repulsion, the band who recorded Horrified. When he learned of their existence, he changed the band's name. This tape was released, I think, in 1990. Only sold at shows, sold at a few small record shops, given out to various record label people, and it was called None More Negative, which I like that as a sort of precursor to the band's ethos and name that was to come. It was also split into Side Blood and Side Fire. So he kind of had this, what should we call it? Kind of just this long arching vision.
Yeah.
There you go.
A long view.
You're getting the blood and the fire, all that, which would of course make its appearance on Bloody Kisses. Roadrunner showed interest in signing the new band. Name was changed. They rearranged the tracks and added a 7-minute thing called Glass Walls of Limbo. And this was what was released as their proper typo negative full length. So you kind of have a situation here we talked about Oblivion in a recent episode, where their previous demo was basically turned into their full length. That also happened with Fate's Warning. Their first demo became Not Unbroken. So it does happen. It's rare, but it's kind of interesting. And Slow, Deep, and Hard is one of those.
This album did not make sense to me when I first got it, but I had no real frame of reference for metal to begin with. Like, this is a very odd thing for a 12-year-old to get into.
So wait a minute. I don't know if we've talked about this. Was this your first typo negative album?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. I didn't know that. I thought maybe you got into them with Bloody Kisses and then went back.
That's when it made sense. But no, I got this thing like in the first few months I was into metal. Based on
oh wow.
Yeah. I did not get it at all.
That's an interesting perspective. I mean, talk about thrown into the deep end, right?
Yeah.
What a way to
Yeah, I got thrown, slow, deep, and hard.
I don't think you and I could have had more different introductions to this album. I'm 10 years older than you, so I'm already a fan, and it's like that's one perspective, and yours was the total opposite. I love that.
Yeah, no, I didn't really know what to make of it.
When did it click with you?
After Bloody Kisses.
Okay.
So, maybe a year after Bloody Kisses.
Yeah, let's listen to a third snippet from this mammoth song.
You've done it before, time after time. Refuse to learn your lesson. You gave till it hurt, thought it was right. Only fools make mistakes twice. Drinking alone, empty bottle in your hand. Don't even try to sort out the lines. It's worse to try to understand.
So I picked that snippet out of Unsuccessfully because it's great. So there's that. There's also a lot to talk about there because, when I got into that first Carnivore, I remember when Male Supremacy came on, the middle of that, and suddenly there was this gorgeous, robust voice coming at you, like, and you never heard it throughout the rest of the record, but it was Peter, and you're like, holy crap, like that's in him too. Okay. And it's a beautiful moment. I mean, despite the kind of uncomfortable subject matter, it's just a beautiful song. The melodic choices in the middle part there with the robust basso profundo voice. It's just it's mesmerizing. And so you got a little bit of that on Retaliation as well, but not even to a satisfying point. I remember being like a little bit frustrated as a fan, like I want a little bit more of that voice. So then when the Typo album came out, you get it. You get quite a bit of it. And of course, as everybody knows, he basically dropped the harsh vocals after this album and just went kind of straight bass, a straight low baritone. And so this is the first appearance of it. I think it's just something to note, just because it's such a signature of his vocal approach or approaches.
That voice is already kind of fully formed.
Yeah, yeah,
Sounds really confident in that voice already.
yeah, totally. And I like that he's able to play with it more and put it into some different contexts. So yeah, that's really nice. The other thing about that clip is like just it illustrates the sound picture between the bass and the guitar that Typo always had, and I've always found remarkable because the bass kind of takes the place of the guitar, whereas Kenny, the guitarist, doesn't necessarily take the place of the bass. He almost just he provides this kind of different layer than a guitar often does. It's a bit scraping. It's a bit of a texture rather than, I don't know. I don't think of power chords.
Yeah, I mean, Pete's obviously the foundation. And yeah, Kenny provides this textural, filigree over the top of the whole sound picture.
Yeah, yeah. And they just kept that as their signature. Like when I talked to Mike, what's his name? Mike Marciano, the guy from Systems 2. I remember him telling me that like they even tried, they being, I'm assuming Mike and Josh, because Josh Silver was really the other real creative element in the band in terms of arrangement and songwriting. I don't want to step on Kenny or Sal, but you know what I mean? Peter wrote everything. But I think Josh really had a hand in like production, especially. So when Mike Marciano was telling me this, he said, we tried to get Peter to just go in straight like a normal bass player, get a normal bass sound and, back off from some of the other pedals and use this one pedal and maybe just this one cab and, do it this way. This is more traditional. For some reason, they had at some point tried to get him to do this. And Peter was always absolutely not. This is my sound. And it is a unique sound. It's one of the most unique bass sounds in hard rock and heavy metal.
So distorted. Almost unreasonably so.
Yeah, it is his sound. Look at his personality. Look at the music he writes and plays. Like it all works as one single unit. It's one of the reasons he fascinates me for sure. We're going to listen to just one more bit from Unsuccessfully. There was so much going on in this song. I felt like we needed 4 little snippets from it.
Back to the sing song thing. Again, it's kind of jaunty, but it's clear accusation of infidelity.
He knows. He said he knows. Like that call and response.
Yeah, I know. He said he knows.
Yeah, it's great, man.
He knows. Yeah. I love
I
it.
don't, I mean, I can't think of an example in music, at least the music we listen to and know. Where do you get such humor, such kind of lightness, such flippant sort of emotion, along with just complete and utter fucking bloodthirsty rage and murderous intent? Where do you get that mixture in the
The
exact
only
same?
thing I can think of that even comes close to it is Misfits.
Oh, that's
Um,
pretty good. That's pretty
that
good.
that that kind of irony, but
Yeah,
not
yeah.
quite like this.
And we don't
Um,
always get it. There's humor throughout the rest of the album, but certainly that part is kind of the elephant in the room for this album in terms of humor.
and they lead off with it.
Right. Yeah. Right. Well, I mean, that's their spirit. That's always been their spirit. Keep people guessing, keep people on the edge of their seat. Great solo work by Kenny there. I just love his sound. We got to mention Josh Silver. We mentioned him before. He was a childhood friend of Peter's, played in Fallout with Peter, his first band, in the early 80s. When Repulsion came together, it was Kenny and Sal first. And Peter hadn't really thought of adding a keyboardist, therefore he didn't think about Josh, even though, they were good friends all through the 80s. But Peter went to see Devo at the Ritz in New York City. And he came back going, I want keyboards in my band now.
Mhm.
And, obviously Josh was too happy to oblige. Or I shouldn't say happy. I don't think Josh is happy doing anything. Um,
True.
yeah.
Uh,
This guy.
this fucking guy.
Yeah, this guy. We are going to move on to a song, certainly the most controversial song in the album, and the only one that doesn't really address the whole revenge fantasy thing. This was actually a Carnivore song. It began life as a Carnivore song before Carnivore disbanded.
Are you on public assistance? Why don't you get a job? Sell some dope and find some right. The only thing you couldn't rob. Social parasite. Social parasite. How does it feel to live for free? Get off society's back.
Yeah, I mean that's a throwback just to straight up hardcore. The
Yep.
verses.
Yeah, the verses for sure. Again, yet another facet of this multifaceted album. You hear that retaliation Carnivore in there, right?
Yeah, the Sergeant Pepper of hardcore. Pete said that. But I love that because it's so true. And like I think you get all of that on Slow, Deep, and Hard. It's such an eclectic record in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Oh, it's very eclectic. Again, I have always thought of it as eclectic carnivore. If this came out as the third carnivore, I would have bought it in terms of buying the concept. There's word out there, and I only found this out recently. I didn't even come across this when writing the book, which is telling for the point I'm going to make here. But word is out there that this album is written in 4 hours by a drunken Peter Steele. I totally call bullshit on that.
Complete bullshit.
Yeah, complete bullshit. For
Never
one,
once believed that.
yeah, but you'd heard it, is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah, but
Okay,
that's ridiculous.
it's kind of out there as gospel, and I hate that that's sort of the word out because that's not true. Here's some defense about that. Der Untermensch was written before the rest of these songs came to fruition, and we're only talking about 5 total songs that have lyrics, right? So this one was written before the other 4. I've also never read a quote from Peter saying that exact thing either. I'm not sure where people are getting it. Maybe I just haven't come across that. But so I did a lot of research for the book, just wasn't able to find it. So if anybody has it, I'd love to see it. But if you know Peter Steele at all, you also know he often gave like these sarcastic, exaggerated, humorous, or just kind of plain false answers to questions in interviews, a lot like the Beatles would often do. They just shrug it off and give you a bunch of bullshit. You know what I mean? And he was also pretty manipulative in the sense of like, I want to start a rumor, so I'm just going to, lie about certain things about this band.
Right.
He just had fun with it. It was just like his disrespect for the media, I suppose. So the 4-hour drunken binge, I highly doubt this album was written as that. The only concession I would make is that perhaps I could see those 4 revenge songs being written in 4 hours by a drunken Peter lyrically, just lyrically. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I could see him scrawling that out.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. But musically, yeah, I highly doubt he wrote the album in 4 hours. Just total nonsense.
Too much going on. There's no way he wrote it in 4 hours.
Yeah, even coming up with Glass Walls of Limbo, which we'll check out later, it's just like that alone would take like an hour and a half to sort of conceive. I think, even though it's such a simple arrangement, it's a piece of work. As was Peter. Here's another part of Der Untermensch. So, man, everything there. We hear at the end it going out in this kind of industrial, dark, dungeony way. And we heard this in the first Der Untermensch snippet too, that absolutely abrasive car wreck sort of scraping and colliding they do. What the fuck is that? You know, like I remember when I first heard this, just having no idea what was going on. So again, really original
Yeah,
approach.
it's like like a construction site.
Exactly. Yeah, that definitely is part of the Peter Steele aesthetic for sure.
Yeah.
They would even put up early Repulsion shows. They had like these barriers. You know, those barriers you see there, are just kind of like the long. They look like a sawhorse or a balance beam, but there's just these long things. You know, do not cross. They had those between the audience and the band. Like that's fucking genius. You know, like we're doing construction up here. Don't fucking come over. You
Yeah.
know.
Well, yeah, we're doing fucking shit up here.
And I also love the momentum of that verse. It gets back into maybe some of the hardcore shouting, but then they answer the vocal in this celestial way with all the keyboard wash. I just think it's so beautiful. And again, man, like you've said, a lot going on, right?
That's a very, very ambitious album.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that gets lost sometimes, and I'm not sure why, but they're so. I mean, it is really a guy like just straining to figure out how to get every idea on his mind into an album.
And by this time, he's listening to Susie and the Banshees. By this time, he's listening to Einstürzende Neubauten. By this time, he's listening to, I mean, it's a wide span, Beach Boys for sure. Like this guy took his inspirations and just funneled it through this incredibly unique and individualistic funnel. I don't know what else this guy would have done in life had he not done this. I mean, he certainly would have continued working for the New York City Parks Department. He loved that. In fact, and I think that's a good segue to talk just a second about the lyrics of Der Untermensch. Very controversial. A lot of people thought it was racist, but really it was just simply him watching people skate by on welfare and people not even trying. He said these were the same people that would like throw shit at him while he's cleaning garbage cans in the Parks Department. He loved cleaning the parks up. He was a big nature guy, you know, and he just thought, well, here I am doing this noble work, right? Working my ass off, and these fucking welfare reject assholes are throwing shit at me. Like, what the fuck? So you can understand his anger. And also, if anybody that ever knew Peter, and I feel like I don't know Peter, I never try to speak for him, but I did write a book about him. I feel like I know him enough to say, to confidently say, because there's much evidence for it, that he just hated everybody. You know what I mean? Like kind of the way a healthy misanthrope hates everybody. He just thought this is, you know, we're all jokes. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah,
no
yeah.
faith in humanity. So, you know, for me to look at that song, I'm just like, it's just rage. It's just simple rage. Not making excuses for him. I just know he wasn't in any way, shape, or form racist. He mentions immigrants in that song, obviously a hot topic today, but he was well aware and proud of the fact that his family were immigrants from Poland and elsewhere. So anyway, enough of that. You're talking about how eclectic this album truly is. Well, we're going to give you further proof with one of two snippets we're going to play from a song called Zero Tolerance, and that's zero with an X, Xero, Tolerance.
For you, my love.
Wow. So we get some odd time signatures there too.
Into someone I don't know, that part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it comes in real quick and then goes back out. And I also think that musically it's sort of Pete and Kenny get into this kind of morbid riff. It's just really twisted and strange.
Really,
Uh,
yeah, it's really dissonant. And yeah, it sounds kind of like it's melting. Um,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, it sounds not right. And then it gets into that, just as we were leaving the song, that really molten, slow, doomy part. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
really kind of, I think the only like real galvanizing force of this album is that you get those super slow motion, ugly passages that sort of tie everything together.
That's dude, man, you just said it all. That's the sound bite for this episode because that's it. That's what I thought the first time. And that's still what I think of it. But I certainly remember the first hearing or first couple times I listened to this, getting into it, thinking, man, he has really taken the slow carnivore style to such a new level. And I don't think I was familiar with any music this slow. I was getting into the Melvins, but they had yet to get this slow. You know what I mean? They would do that on Lysol and eggnog. But this predates that just a hair, I think. And so I wasn't really that familiar with stuff that was this slow. And there's no doubt that, and because I've read this before by various funeral doom bands, but there are a lot of funeral doom bands that love this record because it was one of the first albums to have this many parts that move this slow,
Well,
right?
and those keyboards, like that's a real central element to a lot of funeral doom. And like those kinds of keyboards,
Yes.
like this sound, that organ,
Yep.
that's man, that is yeah, that is like a unit of currency in the funeral doom world.
Absolutely. It's that. So, you look at the various types of musicians that took influence from this album. Certainly Crowbar, Kirk Winstein talks a lot about this album and Carnivore as being a huge influence. John McEntee of Incantation loves the first Typo Negative album. He went to some Repulsion shows. He lives in Greensboro, so I sometimes see him at shows, and I've certainly asked him like a little boy, "Hey, tell me about the Repulsion shows." Like it's such a mythical thing to know somebody who was at one. Like wow.
I one of my favorites, Finland's Unholy, clearly have spent some time with this album.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's a good call for sure. Second Ring of Power has some
Yeah.
betrays some early typo for sure. Zero is spelled Xero. The only thing I could find on the zero prefix, because I was never really familiar with it, was I wanted to make sure I knew what it meant. But I can't correlate its meaning, which is dry, basically DRY, dry, with anything of the subject matters. So I'm not really sure why he chose it, but he was always a word nerd and somebody who would play with anything that could be played with. So here we have X0 tolerance, zero tolerance, in the form of another snippet. Let's go.
And now you die!
because I'm an equal opportunity destroyer. I don't know why I chose to fade there because that's such a great line, but
I
that's what it
know.
is.
Yeah.
Man, again, dude, so much to talk about. uh, first of all, we get the West Side Story Boys back on the vocals. That comes back. I love that. That's cool.
Sure. Yeah.
And Zero Tolerance, like a lot of typo stuff, even throughout their career, throughout their discography, this was split into several movements. You can see that in the lyric sheets. A was type A personality disorder, which I like given the typo thing. So type A personality disorder. Then we heard what we just heard was from part B, Kill You Tonight. And there's a part C that he titled Love You to Death. You can see it on the lyric sheets,
Yep.
which of course is a song title from a later album and a classic typo song. So what we hear there, which is I think the Love You to Death part within Zero Tolerance, he's hacking away at what we presume is a human body. We also hear that in the beginning of that Kill You Tonight snippet, but he's hacking away at what we presume is this woman's body, while Johann Sebastian Bach Passacaglia and Fugue in C minor BWV 582 is heard in the background. Which is just, man, that's again Peter Steele genius right there. Just to think of that and to bring it down to that more horror film cinematic experience. So I love that, and I love a lot of the lyrics on this one. Took some steroids and adrenaline, Finlandia vodka and hallucinogens, mix it with blood and orange juice, liquid protein, and ice cubes.
Yeah, no, it's batshit. And anyone that believes that this was done in 4 hours, suck on that.
Boom, I've got you all hot and bothered about that, don't I?
You do no, because I've been, as a function of our preparation, because you and I are radical researchers. I have come up on this bit of apocrypha more than once, and it's ridiculous. This is like as calculated an album as can be.
I don't care what kind of a genius you are. You just can't write this entire album in 4 days. And that's how it's characterized out there everywhere. It's just.
This is very high concept metal. Very.
I couldn't agree more.
I'm not that smart, but I've been drunk for 4 hours at a time, and none of this would have occurred to me, even in the slightest.
Why not? That's so weird.
Like, man, what? I should rant, and I will have a bot piece behind me.
We flip the record over. We get 4 more songs. 2 of them will be even more eclectic than the usual. We'll get to those. The song that opens called Prelude to Agony. This is something I've always numbered as like a top 5 typo song for me, period. I put it up there with the original long version of Christian Woman. I love I love all of this album, but Prelude to Agony is very special to me. There's no pain like that of desire. Is there no difference between women and fire? I love that line. As ever, a great lyric becomes even greater with the delivery, right? And here's
Oh yeah,
where, yeah,
the inimitable. Um, can, did I say that right? Inimitable.
in that's a hard in
Inimitable. Uh,
inimitable.
inimitable delivery of Peter Steele.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
and it's so vitriolic, but so like jubilant at the same time.
Yeah, he always put that really approachable Peter in there because Peter was also a guy with a great sense of humor and by many accounts a very sweet man. Um,
Hey, look, I'd like to think that I put my approachable Peter some places too. Hey,
oh, hey, whoa,
hey.
hey. All right, I think he would approve. Also, when it drills down into the absolution, like that I am whole, that whole, oh, that still
Yeah,
gives me chills, man. I don't know how many hundreds of times I've listened to this. That absolution moment, a refrain is just genius. I love where it's placed. Love the sonic texture of it. Love the mood of it. Love the emotion of it. Yeah, it's just fucking so works for me, man. And then we start that snippet with some incredibly slow crawling
I
doom
mean,
metal.
incredibly slow.
Yeah,
Well,
love it.
like kind of like reference funeral doom slow.
The thing,
Um,
yeah, and I think that it's really hard to play that slow and make it interesting. And I think, for me alone, the textures, the sonics of the sound picture with Typo, that's interesting enough, so I'm in. But I always feel like he layered or they layered these sounds, these slow moments in such a way that it always was mesmerizing.
yeah.
I don't get bored with it the way a lot of funeral doom will bore me. I just
Well,
sometimes,
because I mean, because there's so much more variety too.
it's aesthetic versus idea, right? And
Right.
here with Type O, you get aesthetic and idea. I think sometimes Funeral Doom has always aesthetic, lacks ideas sometimes, really does, in terms of just capturing anything in the imagination at all.
Yeah, funeral
Maybe
doom is like the thing that I want to love and just cannot. Um,
sure.
and I have been chastised for this. Um, and I repent not. I
Yeah.
I need not. I'm like David Vincent. Like if yeah, funeral doom is God, then I'm David Vincent. Fuck you, funeral doom.
Damn, man, some strong words. But we do agree because, yeah, that's a genre I've always liked on paper a lot more than I do in practice. And I've tried and tried and tried. And you and I, dude, we love plenty of super crazy, slow sludge drone. But I
We,
just feel
we have
like,
we have literally turned a bowling game into doom. So let's set the record straight here. We like slow shit.
Forest of Equilibrium, you bowl
Right.
slow. You bowl slow to that shit.
Yeah. Do you even bowl slow, bro?
How do we even get into bowling here? Okay. So Prelude of Agony is split into, let's see, how many parts? Four. First one's called The Truth. The next one's called God, Love, Fire, Woman, Death. Third one is pretty self-explanatory. It's Jackhammer Rape. And the final one is the, the final one is Pain is Irrelevant. Shall we sample more from Prelude to Agony? I wonder if there's any Jackhammer Rape around the corner.
Yeah, let's find out. Sal on fire. What a drummer, man. Love that guy. It makes me wonder why after Bloody Kisses, Pete decided to program drums.
Well,
Uh,
I know that he wouldn't have wanted Sal to leave. That was just Sal wanting to leave. I think he maybe saw the storm coming, or just saw maybe, and just didn't want to commit to that. There are other reasons. They're in the book, radicalresearch.org. You buy your copy.
but after having a drummer like that, it just makes me wonder why Pete wouldn't want to have that human dynamic in typo anymore.
I
Because it's
Yeah,
so hot-blooded here, and I love it so much.
I love it too. I think it's why the first two typo albums, this and Bloody Kisses, are my two favorites. And I love Dead Again. I love World Coming Down. I love all the albums. But I do like the human element. And I think that, Dead Again, finally Johnny Kelly gets to play, and it's really good and it sounds earthier. A lot of people were surprised when the book came out to learn that it was programmed. I think you were one of them, maybe.
I was.
It's really good programming. It's really good programming throughout October Rust, World Coming Down, and Life is Killing Me. Really good. But
Well, Transcendence. Um,
Crimson Glory, Transcendence. Yeah, yeah, same. But you make a good point about Sal just being a sort of really good in the pocket drummer, really fast fills. He's got character. I don't know. He plays kind of like 70s loose, yet he's tight as living shit too. Like it's
yeah,
kind of
no, yeah, I think it's a great drummer.
he has good feel. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned him. Yeah, that we start with a very agonizingly slow moment there. 6 words heard throughout the entire lyric of that really slow part. He's basically just chanting out, "Love is life, life is love, love is pain, pain is death." And yeah, very effective. And then of course is just you mentioned hardcore again. It is raging hardcore, but I think at least maybe in his vocal delivery, he's getting into certainly not death metal, but definitely a kind of roar that to me is a little more otherworldly than like the street type hardcore. I feel like there's something. It's the beast. It's the beast from the first Carnivore album that I know and love so much. That just raging monstrosity. And I think that he starts getting into that with this part in Prelude to Agony, Jackhammer Rape. Before we move on, he's known as, a guy who, was all about packaging on every single level, like right down to the millimeter on album design stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, look at the catalog. It's pretty obvious. And so throughout the lyric sheet, this is a fun lyric sheet if you've got the vinyl. The times are known not as times, but as chronostats. So, zero tolerance is 7:45:29 on the chronostat. Those at fault, Peter, Kenny, Josh, and Sal are only known as P, K, J, and S. Under their pictures, I've always found this novel. I'm going to read the descriptions of the credits for both Peter and Josh, okay? For Peter, we have Vox, bass, hammers and axes, bulldozer, front-end loader and steamroller, all fire and wolves, autumn, green, dusk, lunar phase, iron, 8, anger, emerald, north, druid. For Josh, right? Right, Hunter?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, if I were going on a blind date, that's probably how I would describe myself.
Exactly. But you'll notice there's a pattern here because he follows it with like that. His credit ended with druid. Well, Sal is pirate, Kenny is barbarian, and we're going to get to Josh's entire credit here. Keys, Fox, Saws and Shears, Diesel Crane and Steam Derrick, All Air and Lions, Winter, Black, Midnight, Lunar Phase, Silver, 69, Despair, Onyx, East, Vampire. We get to the final snippet from Prelude to Agony. That heavy enough for you?
Yeah, if you like that
Man,
sort of thing.
if you like that sort of heaviness, yeah. That no, that's just to me that's some of the most dark and oppressive and fucked up metal ever. And it's pure metal. This is when they are absolutely 100% a metal band. You know.
Yeah, but it's got that fucked up industrial thing too.
Well, that's what I love about it because
And,
it's right.
and that is metal. I mean, that does not adulterate the metal at all.
Yeah, it's, I mean, industrial and metal have a lot in common, obviously. Like, I don't think you'd call that industrial metal, but it's using these industrial sounds. And, everybody knows the real origin of real industrial music was simply it sounded like industry, it sounded like machinery. It was meant to be that way. And of course, Peter's utilizing that, I think, to great effect here, really putting in the vision there. Because that's what I love about it. Like it takes that slow, harrowing, ugly, absolutely pained, grieving metal, and adds this like Jamie Muir from King Crimson
Yeah,
percussive
yeah, perfect.
smashing the percussive sheet kind of slab thing. Like it adds that, and like I just love it, man. And look, we talk about eclectic. We've said that word a lot. Then the album gets really eclectic, wouldn't you say? Look at the next two songs.
Yeah.
The next song is basically a 7-minute dirge. It's just chains and wailing. And then after that comes this thing called the misinterpretation of silence and its disastrous consequences. And it's a minute of silence. And that was intentional. We'll talk about that in a bit. We're not going to listen to that because there's really nothing to listen to. There's a little bit of tape hiss in the original recording, but seems pointless. But we are going to listen to just a little bit from Glass Walls of Limbo. And I think, don't they call this a dance mix in parentheses?
I mean, what to say about it? It's kind of a weird hellscape. And it's got those ethereal kind of monastic chants, but they sound inverted to me. Like with all the clinking machinery, it sounds like a blessing from hell.
Yeah, no, they do sound more morbid because sometimes
Yeah.
those kind of monk chant type things, there's a joy to that sort of singing, right? And
Not here.
not here. Yeah, no, it does. There's no joy in Mudville here. It's a cool moment. I have always really enjoyed it because it does give you the first real break from what came before, which was all that mishmash, that awesome, wonderful mishmash that works. But it sort of just straightens things out for a bit, kind of allows you to take your breath, but then it's also really fucking dark and you really are,
You're like, wait a minute. I'm not taking my breath.
right. I'm still holding it. I also wonder what it would be like if Peter had written an album kind of more like that. I mean, like something that would have landed on Cold Meat Industry or something.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like he had that in him. Of course, he never did,
Well, he
but
was a fan of that stuff.
huge fan of that stuff. Absolutely. So I think that influence is showing there, but it certainly is a singular piece of music on a, let's face it, a singular album. And then we get the misinterpretation of silence and its disastrous consequences, which is, as we said, just silence. When you listen to this, Hunter, to this album, do you and you do a full song 1 through song 7 listen? Do you sit through that minute?
I do. And in fact, I kind of find it helpful.
Me too. Helpful is a great word. Never thought of it that way.
I think it's necessary.
You know, I've always found it to be this. I don't think this is what even Peter had in mind, but for me, it's kind of like you've killed this ex-lover, and now you're like walking home on it's very late, quiet Brooklyn night, and just thinking to yourself, you know what I mean? And this is the minute. This is the minute walk home, you know.
What a shitty night.
What a shitty night,
Well,
for sure. I also think this little minute of silence being titled as it is too, which is audacious enough. I also think it was carried on by the band in tradition because you had Bad Ground on October Rust, which was kind of fooled the listener a bit, and also Skip It on the next album, World Coming Down, where you think your CD player is fucking up. Or if you had it on tape, it would do the tape kind of thing. Some genius stuff, you know, just this playing with the listener, this kind of somewhat breaking the fourth wall. Yeah, I think it plays that role as well.
and it works.
It works. We are Typo Negative fans. First album to last, aren't we?
Damn straight.
But this one, yeah, this one is singular. This is we're gonna go out with a few snippets from Gravitational Constant. This is the first.
Well, I got no more reason to live. Then I got no more love to give. Tonight's the night. I paint the town red. I put another hole through my head. Unjustifiable existence. Unjustifiable. Unjustifiable existence. Unjustifiable existence. Now I feel the weight of the world on my back. I see the future. The future looks black. It's what I must do. I've no reservations. Ain't talking about self-preservation. Unjustifiable existence. Unjustifiable. Unjustifiable existence. Unjustifiable existence. Crushing me, crushing me, crushing me.
Well chosen.
Thank you.
That's like a perfect snippet.
Thank you. Wow. In 132 episodes, you've never called me a perfect snippet maker. Thank you, Hunter.
Snippet, Mr. Wagner. No,
Wow.
that was the perfect piece of that song.
It's a total distillation of the album. And I think this is also a high point in the album. I know I said a lot about Prelude to Agony, but Gravitational Constant is that's top tier Peter
That's
Steele.
my one. If there is a one, uh,
Wow.
I just God, I think it's such a masterpiece.
Yeah, it is. I think the arrangement's even better than the others on this album. I really do. I think the Gravitational Constant has him finding how to put together a song for the most impact, especially a long one. This is 9+ minutes. It's a little bit like Christian Woman, which I've always held up as probably my favorite typo song of all in that long original version. It's just so compelling. Like you're in on the whole thing, and it's just wonderful choices melodically, just instrumentation wise, production. It's just everything. Everything comes together. Gravitational Constant. Everything comes together. I was listening to that just thinking, God, I love this album. It's just a pure love found again for this album with that snippet. So,
Yes,
all right, I'll submit that to the Podcaster Snippets Awards. I think they're finally doing that this
they're up for
year.
a nomination this year.
Yeah, well, great. Let's listen to more. How about this of Gravitational Constant? So I picked that little snippet just simply because it shows probably better than any of these others that relationship between the guitar and bass tones. It's a tone thing. I love how they overlap. I love how they are sort of at odds with each other too. And I just love the fuzziness of it all. It's just one of my favorite elements of this band. So I had to get greedy and just play that little bit.
It's the weird, like fizzy digital tone for both of them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll never forget hearing this album for the first time and like looking at my like whatever receiver or amp I had at the time and going, is everything right? Like, is my bass and is my bass and treble like in equalization? Is that where it should be? Is it like what the fuck? You know?
yeah, no,
Uh,
that was Transylvanian Hunger for the first time.
right,
I was
right,
like, oh
exactly.
man, I cannot wait till this album kicks in.
That's hilarious. Well, we leave you. Thanks for listening on this somber day of Ozzy Osbourne's death. I'm really glad we did this one, Hunter. It's just an album you and I both adore, and I've had plenty of excuses to do a Peter Steele based episode. I just haven't until now. But we love the man. We love the band. It's been really good doing this with you. I don't know what we're going to do for next episode unless you have a ready idea. We have a lot of ideas. We just haven't.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
haven't.
yeah, we do. I will let's put it in the parking lot. Uh,
We'll put in the
and
parking lot, and you can look for the color of smoke coming from the tower next Monday. We'll fire that thing up and let you know who the new pope is. I mean,
yeah,
what the new episode is.
yeah, we'll have some synergy. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Are you stoned? No, just kidding. Um, yeah, thanks for listening. We're going to go out with another bit from Gravitational Constant. Thank you all. Radicalresearch.org. Look for us on YouTube. Look for us on Patreon. Please support us because we need to get rich off this shit right now.
I got a problem with hate. I can't go